Hello everybody, it's Nick. I haven't done any vlogs for a while and I guess I'm trying something new. But I have been, on the days I'm able to, during my menopause journey, trying to keep a diary. I've been quite poorly actually for the last few weeks and I'm getting a lot better, which is great news. And they found that I've had really severe fatigue, so I've pretty much spent certainly the last 2 months, if not longer, in bed is the reality. Very anxious and depressed because I wasn't capable of doing anything but sleep, and really just, there's another way to describe it. I just felt really poorly, and that my day was really centered around how much sleep could I get and when. And it's since become clear, after visiting my consultant a couple of weeks ago, that some of the medication I take to control my insulin is our biggest hormone, so actually it is quite a big deal, and it plays a very sophisticated part in our hormone system. So some of the medication I take, because I am insulin resistant, has been building up basically and not being very nice to my liver. And my fatigue and everything that went with it is actually because my liver's been getting a bit poorly. So I came off this medication a couple of weeks ago, and I am, honestly, I'm a new woman. I might not look like a new woman right now, but I definitely feel like one. I am a mum at home right now who is in and out our above ground pool a lot because I'm chief cleaner, right? But I did try and keep a diary as I was going through. And I think the point to this vlog is just, as always, to try and share the journey so that other people don't feel so alone, because it's really difficult when you're feeling so shit to try and find words. When people ask you what's the matter, sometimes it's just impossible to communicate it. And you have the energy, you don't want to. And actually, I just find that, particularly if people are in solving mode, it just makes me feel worse. But also as something to look back on, because these things do pass. And now as I'm sat here and I'm starting to feel better and I'm starting to kind of climb out of the cave I've been in for the last few weeks, months, I think it's really important to be able to revisit these things, because if you go back into that cave in the future, it's nice to know that you've been there before and you found your way out before, and you will do again. So I'm not going to read all of this diary. I was just going to do snippets starting from when I started it, which was back on the 10th of June. I'd been poorly for a few weeks before then. And honestly, I was so bad, I just didn't have the energy to write anything, nor the motivation, actually. So I'm just going to read a couple of entries. Why am I doing it? I guess as always, to try and help someone somewhere and remind myself of how it felt and how different I feel now. There's always light. There's always light. So this entry is from Thursday the 10th of June. So here it goes. So it's 3 weeks now since I started taking antidepressants. The relief of not having to deal with my raging, incomprehensible and overwhelming emotions, which led me to seek help from my GP and start taking medication, is tangible, but there's still a way to go. Today I went to bed as soon as I got back from my son's football training and napped in the car at football training. I just simply couldn't face interacting with other people, all of whom are delightful. I just do not have the ability nor motivation to engage. I was even too shattered to eat, and my husband and children ate without me. I then slept fully all night, despite having gone to bed at 7 p.m. I woke in a panic this morning upon hearing the dog bark and thinking it was Friday rather than Thursday, and therefore the bin men were here, and I'd forgotten to put the bin out. It took me a moment to get my bearings and realise it was only actually Thursday, and therefore no need to worry. So I lay there for a few minutes with a feeling of dread about a whole day being ahead of me before I could retreat back to bed. I was very anxious about my son's osteopath appointment, not because he had to go or that there was anything bad to come from it, but because it was an additional activity in my day and it would reduce the amount of time I could come home and sleep for. I reduced the anxiety by negotiating with myself not to go to my swimming session tonight, instead being able to finish my day earlier than expected and take back some time to retreat into my cave. The osteopath excursion was not too bad. The roads were clear and we got back ahead of schedule. I came home and did not allow myself to lay down until I had at least put the washing on, cleared the kitchen and fed myself something. I then fooled myself by agreeing to watch an educational video on mental health, so I could at least say I'd done some studying today. But all I actually did was lay on the sofa with the dog and play some meditation music. I woke up 2 hours later. I then dragged myself up to do the school runs and returned to the sofa, at least this time, to do some writing. And the only way I can describe how all of this feels is a complete and total disconnect from the world and people around me. I do not have the desire or ability to explain how I feel to anyone, including my husband. He simply asks if I feel bad and I just say yes. He knows I will talk if and when I can, and that's about as good as it gets right now. I have no desire to engage at all. Even the thought of doing activities that have brought me so much joy for so many years, such as a swim or walk in the countryside with the dogs, fills me with dread at how much energy it will take, and I simply cannot be bothered. Even the thought of watching a TV programme or reading a book is just simply too much today. And I look at the other people going for a jog, interacting with friends, laughing and living, and I wonder when I lost the ability to do so and when it will come back. And finally, I worry that people will eventually avoid me anyway, because I'm always fucking depressed or hormonal or talking about the darker parts of life, and I'm just too much fucking hard work. Or maybe that's just how I feel about me. Who the fuck knows? I certainly don't. So that's my entry from the 10th of June. I'm going to do some of the vlogs where I'm going to do one vlog per entry. So that was a difficult day, and they do actually get more difficult, but then they get better too. And that is really the crux of why we need to share this, and why as a society we really have to turn our minds to a better menopause support. And I do get slightly frustrated because we talk a lot about, menopause support in the workplace, and understanding more and recognising it. But we don't really get into the nitty gritty of what it means. And for me, so the first port of call for most women are the GPs. I think the whole GP system, sorry, I'm going off on one a little bit, but the whole GP system of 10 minutes per person, and certainly if you live in a large area, I'm very lucky, I live in a village, so we have 2 GPs in our surgery, right? I know them really well, we have a relationship that makes their job easier, and it makes it much easier for me to be able to relay to them what's going on, okay, because they know me. But most people don't have that. GPs are not given adequate training in the menopause and what it means. And the menopause is a moving feast. See, I've been seeing my consultant for, nearly 4 years now. And every 6 months our treatment plan changes because my menopause is changing, right? So I think part of a fundamental step is to actually look at the structure and the business model we have come up with for the GP system. It doesn't work. 10 minutes is not long enough. Well, sometimes it might be, and sometimes it might not be. I think we should have a consistency of relationships. I think the focus should really be on relationships. I don't think people should have to be dealing with at any one time more than 2 or 3 GPs. I know people have holidays and you can't always get in and so forth, but we haven't got this right. And certainly cracking the menopause means that women in particular need to have a relationship with GPs who really know them, who have the time to listen to them, and have some much more in-depth training on what the menopause can mean, because it's bloody complex. That is what I'm learning as I go through my journey. So yeah, until the next instalment, as always, with love and a great, great, great desire to help others. Take care. Bye.